Well, hello, friends. How are you? Welcome and welcome back. It's Joni here at Joni's Journals. How is everyone doing today? It is incredibly hot here in Southwest Florida. Just plain old disgusting. There's no better way to say it. It is so stinky hot out. But I am inside and I have been anticipating for the past few days showing you this fabulous file folder 5-tab journal. I saw something similar on one of the Facebook groups I follow, and it was designed and created by a woman whose name I'm probably going to kill. Her name is Desluva Hilda. Okay, I apologize if I am not even close to pronouncing it right, but here's her name, and that's how it's spelled. So if there's someone out there that knows better how to say it than I do, please let me know. It was shown on a Facebook group that I follow, which is called Junk Journal Fix with Sunflowers and Doors. I will do my best to link the Facebook group in the description box below. I've not had any success doing it, but I clicked on the link and it's stored in my phone. So hopefully once I upload this video, you'll be able to see it. Okay, what this is a journal. Well, I made it this way. I composed it with using 3 file folders from which I have cut 11 pages and have also, if you strategically cut your file folder, you will be able to get all of the pages and all of the tabs that you're going to need. I love my Vasen Creative tab punch. It creates a tab that looks something like this, which is, in my eyes, kind of similar to that whale tail tab that is made from a punch that is just so hard to find, and if you find it, the cost of it is just exorbitant. But so you're going to need what I was saying, if you strategically cut your 3 file folders, you will be able to get all of the pages you're going to need and all of the tabs out of those file folders. So it's just a simple 5-page journal made with 10 tabs to construct the pages and connect them. And then you have 3 other tabs that you can put on the outside edges of 3 of your pages. Okay, now I have decorated mine using Tim Holtz paper on both of them. This one was my prototype, from which I made certain adjustments and learned that you better make sure that your tabs are straight. Otherwise, you're going to end up with this little thing going on in here. Okay. And I also learned about adding these tabs once I created my second one. Okay. As I was saying, they're both done with Tim Holtz paper. I anticipate decorating them both using Tim Holtz ephemera. I have prepared a bunch of stuff. We probably will not decorate. In fact, I know we're not going to decorate in this video. I will have a part 2 where we will decorate. Okay, and I'm going to use Tim Holtz ephemera. I have some Tracy Fox ephemera that I pulled out as well. I have to find out what the names of some of the other kits are, but I do know we're going to be using her one kit that is all hearts. I have to verify the name. We will be using her kit, rather grungy random labels. And also maybe 1 or 2 pieces from Awesome Assemblage. I don't really know yet, okay? I do know we're going to be using rather grungy random labels. We're going to be using photos from this kit. And I really have to investigate. I cannot remember what it's called. I do have some of my own little ephemera that I've acquired along the way. I've pulled out and colored with my crayons some Tim Holtz paper dolls. So yeah, and I have a technique that I got from Susie at Shabby Soul using a tea bag. And so, yeah, I anticipate decorating. It's going to be extremely fun, as well as putting together this journal. Okay? With that said, let's get started. Now, what you will need for the basic journal is you're going to need 13 tabs. Okay? I have punched mine out and I have inked them. Oh, excuse me. I have punched them out and I have inked them all because I want the journal to be a little vintage, a little grungy, because if you've been following me for a while, and I know I have a few new subscribers, I like both vintage and grungy, okay? What you're going to need to construct your journal from your file folder, you're going to need 11 cards and or pages, whichever you prefer, the 13 tabs. You're going to need the 11 pages, and they are going to be 4 by 6. I cut mine from my file folders, and I actually managed to get 12. I don't need 12, but I have them. You're also going to need, and this is actually, these pieces are going to be leftovers once you start cutting your file folders apart. You're going to need 2 pieces that are 3.5 by 6. Okay, so that's 11 4 by 6, 2 3.5 by 6, and 13 tabs. Okay, so let's get started making our journal. Now I'm going to move all of this stuff out of the way. What you are going to do for your cover, okay, you're going to glue your tabs on the back of your page. You can see that I've inked them all very much so because I plan to decorate with the pages from Tim Holtz, and they're going to be just slightly smaller than the journal pages because I like the edging around mine. Okay, your first page, you're going to turn it over. And what you are going to do is you're going to take 3 of your tabs to start with. 1, 2, 3. Now, I eyeball the center. You can measure if you'd like. If you'd like me to measure, let me just grab my ruler. And we have 6 here. And we'll just make a random pencil mark. You're not going to see it because we do double side these pages. This is a little heavy chunk of a journal. This is the, helps if the pencil's open. 6 inches, so of course 3 is the center, okay? You can measure if you want. I eyeball it, okay? All right, let's get started. Oh, again, friends, I didn't make sure that my glue was up and running. And of course, it probably is not, but we will do our best to get it started. Let's get the schmeg off the end there. Okay, and let's just see. All right, you put a little glue on your tab. Oh, look at that, we got lucky. All right, just the edge, it's fine. Okay, your first tab, you will glue down to the far corner. Use the edge of your tab and line it up to the edge of your paper like so. Okay, let me see if you can see that. Okay, and then we're going to take our second tab, and guess what? We're going to glue it to the opposite end. Again, just a little bit of glue on the edge there. And I'm going to turn this because I am working around my tripod. And you're going to glue it, and you're going to take the edge of the tab, and you're going to put it up to the edge of your paper. Again, that's what that looks like. You can see here, the edge of the tab is at the edge of the paper. And then, like I said, let's just make sure that these are straight, okay? Because you don't want them to be crooked. Otherwise, they'll bump into each other and more than likely not look too pretty. Okay, and for your center tab, like I said, you can eyeball it or you can line it up on a center line you may have made. I'm going to do both, okay? And again, you want to pull your tab up to the edge and make sure it's straight, okay? I know I'm flipping this around a little bit, but you want to make sure your tab is straight. Now you can kind of tell this one's just a little bit crooked, but they're all pretty straight, and we want to make sure they're level, okay, with each other, all right? And to do that, I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to bounce it on the table and say, yes, they are level. Okay, that is your cover. Your journal will open this way. Now you're going to take your second page, and I'm just making sure, okay, and you're going to, again, flip it over, okay, and you're going to put glue on the edges of all three of these tabs, like so. Okay. You're going to take your paper, you're going to lay it down on top of your tabs, like that, and then we're going to take our papers and we're going to make sure that they are straight and even along the edges, okay? And we're going to push down like so. Check it that way, check it that way, and they are pretty straight. We're just going to, I just feel like this one tab is a little bit crooked. Maybe not. I think it's an illusion from the way I inked it. Okay? So now you have your front cover and you have your second page. Okay? Now we are going to add our other tabs so we can connect this page to the next page. And again, you're going to take your tab, whoop, moved my glue, and you're going to put glue along the edge, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this tab and lay it down. And again, like I said, you're going to kind of eyeball it to make sure that it's sitting in between these two tabs and that it's relatively even on both sides. And again, we want to make sure it's straight, okay? I'm sure we may have a little goof here and there because, again, I did not watch a video on how to make this. I took a look at what Desluva had created and I winged it, okay? I contacted her on Facebook and she told me that she did not have a video, but that I could contact her if I ran into a problem and I wanted more information on how to do it. But I winged it, and so far, so good. Okay, now you're going to take another one of your tabs, and you're going to put a little bit of glue, again, along the edge of this one, like so. And we're going to attach it in the same fashion as we did the other one. We're going to push it down, and we're going to make sure that it's relatively centered now between this one and this one, okay? So it should look like that, all right? Okay, now we're going to grab our next page, and it doesn't really matter which way you glue it down. You can glue it down this way, you could glue it down that way. You're going to be making double pages out of both of these, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to add glue to these two tabs, like so. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to lay this piece of paper down on top of those two tabs, and we're going to make sure that it's lined up straight with the other two pages, and this one's off just a little, so you have enough time to just shift it around and make sure that it's laying flat and that it's even all the way around. Now, I have purchased a new paper trimmer because I am still having problems with the one that I have, in that the rail that the blade runs across is just not straight anymore, and I am not getting straight cuts. Okay, for front cover, second page, third page. Again, we're going to take 3 of the tabs, and we're going to continue in the same fashion that we did with the first page. A little bit of glue along the edge. Line the tab up with the edge of the paper. Make sure it's straight. Pull it up. And now this way, this time it's a little bit easier because you can kind of line up your 2 tabs, your first tab, your first one here. You can kind of line up this next row or this next page, whatever, with the tabs that are already existing on the folder, and kind of make sure they're even. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to connect the other end like so, and do it on the other end, and then, okay, make sure again it's straight. You can line it up with the other tab that's now behind it. Make sure it's in the right place. Do have a little bit of wiggle room with this glue. It's the Nuvo glue, okay? And so you can see here that they are relatively even. And then I'm going to grab another one and I'm going to put it in the center, like so. Okay. Again, I'm turning it because I can't really see around the tripod very well. Make sure it's even with the other one in the same space on the other page. I'm going to turn it a little. And there we go. Okay. Now I'm going to grab one of my sheets of paper or one of the pages. And I'm going to add some glue here and here and here, like so. Going to lay my paper down, line it up on the edges with the other papers that are already there, like so. Stand it up, make sure it's even. Stand it up, make sure it's even. And I do as best as I can to make sure it's even because, you know, as I explained, I am having problems with my paper trimmer. Okay, now we have, let's check. We have, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages, and now we will do our very last page. Okay, so we'll grab 1, 2 more tabs, and we're gonna again glue. I'm gonna turn it, put it down, line it up with its friend behind it. Okay, make sure it's straight. Push down. Grab the other one. Glue. Lay it down. Make sure it's even with its buddy behind it. Again, make sure it's straight. Okay. And that looks pretty straight. Let's just turn it. This one's a little crooked. Okay, not too bad, not too shabby. All right, and then we have our 5th and final page before we begin adding the rest of the papers to make our journal. And so because I sound like a broken record, I'm just gonna do it. You already know what I'm doing. I'm gonna push it down. This one's a little crooked. I don't know now if it's the tab or the paper. Nope, it must be the paper. Okay. All right, so there we have our pages constructed for our journal. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to seal up the inside with the rest of our papers. Okay, for our first paper, we're just going to simply glue down another sheet of the file folder right behind it. Okay, make sure it's nice and sturdy. And again, make sure your edges are even. Okay, so you push it up against that edge there and the other edge. And just glue that down. We'll do the same on the next page. Okay, so you now have two solid inside pages, but we are going to make some pockets. All right, and I'm going to show you. I learned the hard way, and again, this was when I made my second one. I learned that there's something I don't want to do right away. Okay, and that's add a thumb hole on my one pocket, because let me see if I can find the page. We're going to have a pocket on the next page, and now I wasn't sure if I liked the way it looked. See, we have a little bit of a thumb notch here. If I can get my fingers in there. We have a little bit of a thumb notch for our pocket. I wasn't sure if I liked the way the paper lined up. Although looking at it, I do kind of like it now. So then I tried cutting my paper to putting a thumb hole in the Tim Holtz paper after I had already cut the other paper, and I liked this less. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait to cut my thumb hole in my pocket, which is going to go right here on this page, until after I add my decorative papers. So, oh, I did forget one thing. All right, we could do it now. I forgot to add my tabs on the outer edge. Okay, we're going to add a tab to this page, and then we're going to add our pocket. Okay, let's just do that. We'll add our tabs. And I meant to do that before I started adding my papers. All right, we're going to add this tab right at the top, and we're going to line it up the same way that we did the other ones to construct the journal, like so. Okay, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to add some glue to the back of the tab, and I'm going to glue it down to the page. Okay, not too much damage done. I actually, when I did my second journal, I added the tabs immediately before I started putting the papers in, and I kind of liked the way that looked. But this looks good too. If you see here, this was the original one that I did, and I added my tabs. Whoop. Come on, open up. Oh no, this is the one I did the second time. Or maybe, you know what? In reality, it doesn't really matter when you add your third tabs. Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, let's just go with the flow, and we will add our tabs now. Okay, this is our second page. This is going to get a tab as well. Sorry if I confused you. And this is our third page. This one's going to get a tab as well. Now, the first one here, I lined up with the top edge of the paper, and I am going to do the third page first, and I'm going to line this tab up with the bottom edge of the paper, okay? All right, let's get that done. I looked over and I saw the tabs laying there, and I was like, oh, you idiot, you forgot to add the tabs, and you started to add the pages. All right, so now we're going to add our tab for our third page. We're going to add that first because, again, we want to center our center one. Okay, so we've lined the tab up with the bottom edge of our page. Okay, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to add some glue to the edge of the tab. And I'm going to flip that tab over. And now we have our tab on our third page. Okay, I'm just making sure it's straight. There we go. Okay, so we have our tab on our first page. We have our tab on our third page. Now we're going to add our tab to our second page. And we're going to do our best to eyeball it and put it in the center of that second page. Okay? All right, and then we'll add our pockets. So I'm just going to lay it down, okay, like so. I'm not going to mess with it too much. I'm going to bring over my first one, and I'm going to say, yeah, that's about the center like that. And I'm going to push it down, okay, flip it over. And guys, I don't think it would be a Joni's Journals video if I didn't make a boo-boo. Okay, we're going to glue this one down, okay, like so. We're going to flip it over, and there we go. Okay, so now we have added our 3 other tabs, and that would be the reason we needed 13. Okay, let's flip back to the front of the journal. Okay, so we've backed our front page. We have backed our second page. We're going to flip over, and now we're going to add our pocket to our third page. Okay, I'm just going to bend this a little to make it a little bit easier to work with. Everything is still kind of wet. So, all right, this is a page we're going to add the pocket to. All right, and I am going to glue this side, and this side. And I'm going to leave this top part open, but I'm not yet adding my thumb hole. Okay, I do anticipate, you know what? Only because I think I might have a problem trying to get my circle punch in after. I think we'll decorate it this way, like this. This is pretty cool. And I did like the exposed file folder on the edges all around. So I think we'll do it this way. All right, cancel that. All right, we are going to find the center of this piece of paper, and we're going to take our 1.5 inch circle punch, and we're going to put our thumb tab in. And when we decorate the paper, we will decorate it the way I did it on my prototype journal. All right, 6 inches, I'm finding the center here, 3 inches. I'm going to make a mark down here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my 1.5 inch circle punch. And I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to angle it. There's a little arrow here, which is the center of the circle. I'm going to use this arrow to line it up with this line right here so that I know that my thumb notch is going to be right in the middle. Let's see. I can't do that. Okay, you're going to have to take my word for it. I'm lining the tip of the arrow up with the little line in there. And I am going to punch my thumb notch, okay? I hope you were able to see at least some of that. Then I'm going to grab my ink, and I'm just going to ink around that opening. Okay. Now we are going to add our pocket to the back of our second page. So we will go around this edge. Whoop. We will go around the bottom edge, like so, and we'll go around this other side edge, like so. We're going to line our piece of paper up with the edges of the other page, like so. I just realized I didn't ink the insides of my tabs. Okay, I'll have to go and do that. Okay. And we're going to make sure it's straight. And I'm going to push it down. And now we have our little pocket on our second page. You know, I was inking my tabs and I said, why am I going to ink the insides? No one sees it. Duh. Yes, you do. Okay. Now we have, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3. Our fourth page is going to get another sheet of paper on it, like so. So we are going to add our glue all around the edges, all around the edges, like so. Okay. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to line it up with the other paper below it. And I'm going to push it down. I'm going to make sure it's straight on both sides. And that's pretty darn good. Okay. Now I'm going to flip it over. Now is when you are going to use your two smaller pieces, your 3.5 by 6. And we're going to make pockets on both sides here. Oh, I'm going to have to ink the edges of that too. Okay. We're going to lay this down, and we're just going to have a pocket where you sort of slide things into. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to ink all around. I'm going to put glue only around 3 of the edges on our piece here because we're going to have a pocket. I'll show you in the other one what the pocket looks like. Let me just line it up here on both sides. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay, so now we have our little side pocket, which is similar to this one. Okay, you have one here, and you have one here, if I can get my fingers in, like so, okay? And we'll make some tags and stuff to stuff in those pockets once we begin decorating the journal. Let me just get my ink, and I'm just going to ink the edges of this, like so. Okay, we're going to ink all around with our vintage photo. I need to get a new dauber onto this handle here. And we'll do a little bit on here. I want to make sure that this edge up here is inked the most, but let's just put a little here too. Okay. And then when I go back, when I'm off camera, I'm going to ink my tabs here. I just, all right. I'm going to do the same thing to this pocket. I'm going to put glue around 3 of the edges, like so. There we go. And we're going to glue this pocket down by lining it up with the paper underneath it. Okay. Oop. Oh my God, what a bumbly video this is turning out to be. All right. Did I put enough glue? Yes, I did. All righty. And we're going to push down on the edges. Make sure that it's straight. And it is. I do see it's hanging over a little on the one edge. I will go back with my scissors and trim this off. Again, my paper cutter does not like me. All right. Yeah, we have just a little bit hanging over there, but I will fix that after I finish the video. Okay, so now we have our 2 pockets on our pages. We have our 3 pockets, rather, on our pages. Okay, and I'm just going to go and I'm going to back this page. See, that's what I did. I put my page on upside down in that one spot when this should have been on the other side and the plain edge should have been on the inside. Okay, and we're going to glue this page down like so. All righty. Like so. Put a little glue. And we're almost finished with the basic construction of our journal. All right. Line up the edges, push it down. And like I said, we're going to be adding some Tim Holtz decorative paper. I use the Tim Holtz paper packs. And this is volume 2. And I'll show you that when we start to decorate, which, you know, with any luck will go better than this has gone. And you will see that I will now have inked the insides of my tabs. When I said to myself, you know what? I'm inking the insides of the tabs and there's no need to. And yes, there is. So that's a tip for you. You've seen I've made a couple of boo-boos. Make sure you ink both sides of your tabs, unless you're making your tabs from decorative paper that you don't want to ink. Because, of course, you don't have to use a file folder. You could use, you know, paper pads. You know, heavy duty like scrapbook paper. The Tim Holtz paper is wonderful. It's nice and heavy and will make a nice sturdy journal. This is my 12th card, and this is the one that's left over. We don't need that one. Okay. Yeah, the Tim Holtz paper is very sturdy. You could just construct the entire journal using that. But I love file folders. They're the most inexpensive things to play with that you can make journals from. And if you've followed me for a while, you will, if you want to go through my playlist, if you haven't followed me for that long, you can go through my playlist. I have made several journals using file folders. Okay, so it's done. Even through all the befuddlement and the boo-boos, we got it done. Here is our fabulous file folder 5-tab journal. Okay, page 1. Page 2 with our pocket that I decided to do the way I did it the first time because I really do like the way the decorative paper looks. Page 3, page 4 with our little side tucks here. I didn't put thumb holes in them. I figured that once the journal is constructed and you use it, you'll know that there's a pocket there, especially because I want to make things that will stick out of the pockets. Okay, then we have our 2 plain pages, which we are going to decorate in the next video. Okay, guys? So this is what it ultimately will look like before it's decorated. We have our decorative Tim Holtz papers. And here we go. We have this one too. Okay. But this is the basic construction. So yeah, thank you, Desluver Hilda. I will be posting this video today. I will also add it to the Foxy Crafters Facebook group. And I'm going to see if it's okay if I put it into the junk journal with Junk Journal Fix with Sunflowers Indoors, so that I can give credit to Desluver, because I don't know if she's on YouTube. I do know she's on Facebook, so I do want to have her see it, and maybe she can give me some criticisms, kind criticisms. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to send you lots of love, big hugs, ask you please to remember to like, subscribe, and comment. And if you haven't already gone over and commented on my 1,500 subscriber giveaway, take a look on my channel. Go look for that. And yeah, I will be back probably towards the end of the week to begin decorating. All right? So I'll see you then. Take care for now. Love, hugs, bye. Thank you for watching.